How do I win this position? If you're asking yourself the same question and struggle to capitalize on your opponent's weaknesses in your own games, then I welcome you to this series about strategy, specifically this position and this video about weak and strong squares. And yeah, what do you think? Can white win in this position? Let's jump right into it. So, when checking for a move, first we have to check what's going on. So, we have this strong pawn on e5, but right now black is threatening to capture our bishop. It's not defended, so we have to deal with that. And what can we do? We usually look for forcing moves. So we don't really have any move that would capture anything straight away. So we could give a check. The only check possible right now, reasonable, is bishop to g5. And this is leading to my first question to you guys. Why is bishop g5 not the correct move? And instead, bishop e3 was played in the game. Pause the video if I have to. And yeah, see you in a second. Let's see if you find out. Welcome back. And why do you think bishop g5 is not the good move? Let's see. If white plays bishop g5, black can block with f6. So sorry, we can capture the pawn. This is one possible outcome. Black can recapture, and suddenly we have to either retreat or, for example, play bishop h6. Let's say we play bishop h5 in this position. Then suddenly black gets an open file on the king side. For example, rook e1. And suddenly black gets very active play, attacking both of our bishops at the same time. The only move to defend would be this. And as you can see, the rooks double up on the g file. The bishops are very strong, all aiming at our king side. And the weak knight at h5 is suddenly not so weak anymore. And our pieces are kinda disconnected on the queen side. So that's exactly quite simple solution why bishop g5 is not the correct move, and instead bishop e3 was played. Why? Because if we look at the position and we are looking for the weaknesses in black's position, that's definitely d6, for example. We are looking at it already. Our pawn is perfect to support it. We have the open file to attack the d file, the open file. Our different knight can come in very easily. So yeah, who's defending it? The bishop. So we're challenging the bishop on c5. So what can black do? Black, for example, could just take the bishop. And then maybe thinks, oh, doubled up pawn on the e file, that can't be too great. But now black also has to consider the next move, g4, is winning the knight. There's no safe square, so he has to react to that. And the only move really to do that is g6. g6 is creating another weakness. But we don't even have to kick out the knight, for example, by playing g4, and then the knight would retreat to g7. We can straight away occupy d6, and suddenly we have a double attack, and we win a pawn. We attack b7, we attack f7, our rook is looking at f7, and we will definitely win a pawn. So that's why taking the bishop also didn't happen in the game. Instead, black played rook to c8. And what's a reasonable move to continue for white? We don't have to take the bishop straight away. Instead, we were talking about it already, we can target the knight. And how can we do that? If we look at the rook, aiming at our bishop, and we can combine two things in one move. We can get to safety and attack the knight. So now black has to play g6, what we've seen earlier. And the next move for white is knight e4. To have the second knight looking at both weak squares. So now we will check bishop e3. Another example would be bishop b4 to occupy a good square for black. But that's already not working anymore really, because after g4, knight g7, we can give it check now. King f8, knight f6, and suddenly we're winning this pawn, because we also attack the bishop. So that's not really an option. So now black has to take. We take back. Now black is looking for some counterplay by playing rook to c2. And that's usually a good thing strategically to occupy the second rank. But in this case, we don't even have to care about our bishop, because our outposts here and here are so strong. That's why you'll see the knight moves into d6. And the rook comes to defend, because the obvious threat is rook to f7. And you cannot take the free bishop in this position. Let's say rook e2, because then we simply give a check. The only move for black is king to d8. And suddenly, this is only one example, rook f8, and we are losing the rook as black. So again, that's why rook f8, we defend. Now, one very nice move for white. We take the knight on a6, and you will see why in just a second. Black has to recapture, the only move. Now we kick out the defender of f6, like we did earlier with the bishop. This is the only safe move. And now we occupy the second strong square. So now both holes, both weak squares are occupied. Black is trying to go for some counterplay and freeing up his position in some way. And now a very nice move. And actually here black surrendered already, because even if you go for the check like this, we go for f1 obviously, not h1 because of the white squared bishop. And even if rook takes on h2, we can simply take the bishop. And that's why taking this knight earlier makes sense now, because now this square is not protected anymore. So we can take the bishop. And even if the rook gives a check on h1, and it looks like we lose our rook, it doesn't matter anymore. We simply attack the rook. Black could take the rook, but now what happens? Black is simply defenseless against the mate. Rook c7 mate, king d8, and rook to d7 checkmate. That's why black surrendered earlier, because the position for white was simply so overwhelmingly strong that there was no defense anymore. Or he would lose all of his pawns or the pieces, but basically that's how white won the position and made use of the both of the holes and outposts for the knight. And that's how the game ended. If you want to check out the full game, the link is in the description. And if you think this helped your chess in any way, feel free to check my other videos and have a wonderful day.